What's going on, you dirty, dirty dogs? It's your boy Kevin. Welcome back to the channel, the #1 YouTube channel for exposing the stupidity of the woke left. Vivek Ramaswamy, as Donald Trump likes to call him, or Vivek Ramaswamy, I think is the correct pronunciation of his name, has come out of nowhere, has come out of thin air, and is really running a good campaign, is polling second or third, depending on which poll you look at, for the GOP primary nomination. The Real Clear Politics average has Vivek running in third, but some polls show Vivek in second place, only behind Donald Trump. Now, it is looking like Donald Trump is the clear front runner and will be cruising to the GOP nomination. But there is also a possibility that Donald Trump ends up in jail due to the political persecution that we are currently seeing by the deep state. Now, I don't like that. I don't like that there's a possibility that Donald Trump will end up in jail. I will vote for the dude, even if that does happen. But for somebody like Vivek to be running in second place, that is serious business. Because if Donald Trump is somehow taken off the ballot, if the deep state achieves their goal, and Donald Trump is taken off the ballot, that automatically catapults Vivek Ramaswamy one place higher. So we need to take this individual serious and investigate who the hell this dude is, because he has came out of nowhere. I have noticed a trend on Twitter. A lot of political influencers and commentators are calling Vivek a deep state plant. That's right, a plant. He has a history in the pharmaceutical industry, and he's also coming out of nowhere. So we really don't know who this dude is. And these Twitter influencers, these Twitter shills, political shills, calling him a plant, sparked my interest. So in today's video, we're going to be doing a little deep diving and a little investigatory journalism on Vivek to see if he truly is a deep state plant. Apparently, Vivek Ramaswamy has a net worth just under $1 billion. He went to Ivy League school. He's educated, very educated dude, smart guy. He went to the University of Harvard, where he got a degree in biology and a law degree from Yale. So he's been to these Ivy League schools. I personally wouldn't go to these schools. I wouldn't want my children to go to these woke Ivy League institutions, but he's well educated. The dude is well educated. At the age of 29, he founded Rovient Sciences, a biotechnology firm, in 2014. Rovient creates subsidiaries that develop drugs that are neglected by larger pharmaceutical companies. I do believe the accusation that Vivek is a pharmaceutical company plant, that Pfizer or Moderna sent Vivek down to run for president to infiltrate the America First MAGA movement and then somehow corrupt us, is not true. The pharmaceutical company that Vivek owned or worked for, Rovient, the way they would make money and operate their business is they would acquire these failing drugs that bigger biotech companies like Pfizer, like Moderna, were neglecting. So you would have these drugs that these big biotech companies spend a lot of money on, but they were neglecting. Maybe the drug wasn't performing like they thought it would. And then Vivek's company would come in, acquire the drug, take in investor money, try to revamp the medicine that they're working on, and probably later sell it down the road or license it, do whatever. So Vivek's company was really, in the grand scheme of things, in the pharmaceutical industry, it was really little. You're talking about a little company. You're not talking about Pfizer or Moderna. And yes, there's a lot of problems in the pharmaceutical space, but there's also some good, right? Medicine saves a lot of lives. Modern medicine saves lives. Now, what happened in 2020 with the old Rona, was terrible. And what the pharmaceutical companies and the government did was horrible. But I think it's wrong to align Vivek's history in the pharmaceutical space with what happened in 2020, just because they're both in the pharmaceutical industry. You can't just lump everybody together. There's a lot of good medicines out there that saves a lot of lives. Millions of lives have been saved. by new medicine, by novel medicines that have been created by people like Vivek. He's a smart dude, worked in the pharmaceutical industry. I'm not going to hold that against him. I would rather vote for somebody personally who went and forged their own path, started a business and made a lot of money in the private sector than somebody who has never worked a private sector job and has made their entire fortune on the backs of taxpayers. I would much rather vote for somebody who's been successful in the private sector than somebody who's worked in public office their entire lives. So that critique that he is a pharma plant, I do believe is unfounded. There has been a lot of hit pieces been going around on Twitter. A lot of hit pieces have been going around on Twitter. One of them is this one right here. Let's take a look at what this dude has to say.
So Vivek Ramaswamy seems to be the right's new it boy that all the conservative grifters like Candace Owens and Tim Pool are latching onto. And one of his big claims at the debate the other night was that he's not bought and paid for like all these other guys. But how exactly did he make his money at such a young age? And you're probably guessing, seeing as I'm making this video, that it wasn't some sort of unethical way. But you're going to want to stick around because I would almost guarantee you it's worse than you're thinking. After working at a hedge fund for a while, Vivek made his big money in the biotech space. Vivek had a company called Axivant that was incorporated in Bermuda, but was pushing a drug called RVT-101 that was supposed to help slow the effects of Alzheimer's. But where exactly did this awesome new drug come from? Did Vivek develop it? Well, of course not. And this is where it starts to get a little crazy, because he actually purchased the rights to it from a bigger company, GlaxoSmithKline, for just $5 million. But wait, hold up. If this drug does what they say it does, why would GlaxoSmithKline sell it for just $5 million when they could make billions? Well, it's because they had pretty much given up on the drug after it failed not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 clinical trials. Because what Vivek did is he took one of those failed clinical trials, put his mom on the research team, who is a doctor, but was also on the board and had stock options in the company, and they took some people out, reworked a couple things, finagled a couple others, and all of a sudden that failed clinical trial was now a clinical trial that showed significant improvement. Just like that. Overnight. You then, of course, rename the drug, and now you have a promising new drug and a finagled phase 2 clinical trial that you can cherry pick a few lines from. You then go on CNBC and talk about the unlimited potential that this company has. Then all you gotta do is file for your IPO and watch the money roll in. Even though before the company itself actually makes any money, you got to pass phase 3 clinical trials, but more on that in a second. And when they eventually did do their IPO, it was the biggest biotech IPO ever. The stock doubled on the first day, and eventually it went from $15 all the way up to $50, based on a hope, a prayer, and Vivek's salesmanship. But then, after the stock shot up and enough time had passed so Vivek's family and rich friends could sell off their shares, it was then finally time to do stage 3 trials. And surprise, surprise, it completely flopped, which caused the stock to drop 99% in one trading day because it was now a worthless stock. But he had always known it was a worthless stock. And if you do know anything about the stock market, you're probably asking yourself, why does a company called Axivant have a ticker CO Gene Therapies? Well, that's because after the stock completely tanked, he changed the name because he wanted to make it harder for people to find his pump and dump company. So to recap, the guy that wants to be your president made his fortune by
This guy's accusation that Vivek scammed people, and this is a gotcha moment because the medication that his company acquired ended up failing, is ludicrous. His business model revolved around acquiring medications for cheap from big pharmaceutical companies, trying to make changes to those medications, and then profiting off it while also helping patients. How many medications out there cure Alzheimer's? 0. There are 0 medications out there that cure Alzheimer's. So he took a huge risk. The odds of that medication actually working out were very, very low. But he acquired it for $5 million. If that medication ended up working, getting through phase 3 trials and helping patients, it would be worth billions of dollars. So the percentage of success when you're taking on a project like that is probably like 1 or 2%. He knew that it was probably going to fail, but that's his business model. You maybe buy 100 drugs and you hope 1 or 2 actually works out. That's the way his company operated. He would acquire small drugs, small medicines, make some changes to them, and hope 1 or 2 actually worked out. This is not a gotcha moment. And the pharmaceutical plant accusation, I do think is unfounded. The more realistic accusation is that he's some type of deep state plant trying to infiltrate the America First movement. That's a little more believable to me. I still think it's silly. I still don't think it's true. And here's my logic. Sean Hannity had Vivek on a show right after the first Republican debate, where Vivek performed pretty well. And Sean Hannity was real nice to Vivek. It was a sweetheart interview. He was throwing slow pitches, and Vivek was hitting him out of the park. Well, Vivek shot up in the polls after the first Republican debate. And I think the old Rupert Murdoch, globalist foreigner Fox News, sent down from the top that they're going to go after this guy. They can't afford to have another America First MAGA candidate up at the top of these polls. So Sean Hannity had Vivek on a couple days after the debate, and he tried to take him down. He tried to trap Vivek. Take a look.
You know, you said aid to Israel, our number one ally, only democracy in the region, should end in 2028, and that they should be integrated with their neighbors. I have an exact quote. You want me to read it?
That's actually, yeah, I can tell you the exact quote. What I said is it would be a mark of success if we ever got to a point in our relationship with Israel, if Israel never needed the United States' aid. And Sean, you know how politics is played. A lot of the other professional politicians who have been threatened by my rise have used that statement to say that I would cut off aid to Israel. That's not correct. I've been crystal clear.
But do you?
That the only condition under which
do you understand the importance of the strategic alliance, the intelligence sharing, in an area of the world where we have a lot of enemies, which, by the way, boggles my mind that we look for the lifeblood of our economy and the world's economy from that very same region of the world, and we have more natural resources here, which you agree. But you do understand how important that alliance is, and
Sean,
how important the intelligence factor is, and how important it is with Iran, especially seeking nukes.
I understand it, I think, more deeply than probably anybody in this race. I've traveled to Israel. I have business partners in Israel. The reality is this. By the end of my first term, our relationship with Israel will be stronger than it ever has been, because I will treat it as a true friendship, not just a transactional relationship.
And why did you say that they shouldn't have preferential treatment? Why did you say that Israel should not have preferential treatment from us? That's a direct quote.
Sean, I understand. No, those are direct quotes from headlines summarized by opposition research fed to the fake news media. The reality is, here's what I've said, but Abraham Accords 2.0 is my top priority. Abraham Accords 2.0 is my top priority, which is to get Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar into that pact with Israel. And foremost, to have a partnership with Israel that does something really important for the U.S., which is to make sure that Iran never, ever, ever has nuclear capabilities. That's important to the United States. And the other thing I've said, Sean, is that Israel's our friend. Good friends learn from each other. I would love Israel's border policies in this country. I would love Israel's tough on crime policies and strong national identity in this country. I would love an iron dome like Israel has to defend itself against Hamas, which is a good thing for Israel. I want something like that here in the United States. So I don't read from the traditional GOP talking point binder that's handed to traditional candidates. That's true. That lends itself to being misquoted. But it's actually a much more authentic commitment to Israel on the substance than just checking off the talking point of saying that we stand with Israel. That's meaningless. I prefer substance, and that's exactly where I've gone in a lot of these long-form podcasts I've done.
Deep State Sean himself attacking Vivek on Israel. So right after the debate, you have Sean Hannity kissing Vivek's ass. Then a couple days later, Vivek comes back on the Sean Hannity show, and Rupert Murdoch, the execs over at Deep State Fox News, globalist Fox News, have told the anchors, in my opinion, now this is just my opinion, don't want to get sued by Fox News or the globalists over in the Murdoch family, but I believe the execs at Fox News have told Sean Hannity, we're picking our side, we're picking Deep State, we're picking the establishment Republicans, and we're going to try and take down the America First candidates. And the only two America First candidates, the only two populist candidates running in this primary right now are Vivek and Donald Trump. I'll personally be voting for Donald Trump unless something drastically changes. But Vivek is saying all the right things, and that is a little scary. It is a little scary that he's saying all the right things. He's a very smart dude. Maybe he conjured this up in his head one day. He said, I'm going to infiltrate the America First populist movement, the MAGA movement. I know what to say. I know all the things to say to sound like Donald Trump, but maybe I can come off as a little more polished. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Is Vivek the real deal? Is he a pharmaceutical plant? Is he a Pfizer plant? Is he a deep state plant? Is he just a phony, a fugazi? Let me know what you think in the comments. I love you guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Until next time, peace.